Identity politics. This new religion that says your race, your gender, and your sexuality are your identity. It is anti-American. It is meritocratic. It's anti-meritocratic, and it is dividing this country to a breaking point. But it's even worse when Republicans try to play the same game. And Nikki Haley's campaign launch video sounded like a woke Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light ad talking about how she would kick in heels. At the first debate, she said that only a woman can get this job done. That's what she said. After the third debate, when I criticized Ronna McDaniel after 5 failed years of leadership of this party and criticized Nikki for her corrupt foreign dealings as a military contractor, she said that I have a woman problem. Nikki, I don't have a woman problem. You have a corruption problem. And I think that that's what people need to know. Nikki is corrupt. This is a woman who will send your kids to die so she can buy a bigger house. This is the problem. Using identity politics more effectively than Kamala Harris is a form of intellectual fraud. And it actually needs to end. There's our donor puppet masters wielding their puppet right up here tonight. This is how this game is played. The puppet masters put up their puppet, and I reject the use of identity politics in this party. It has been a cancer coming from the left, and I'm sick and tired of the double standards the people of this country are too. Having 2 X chromosomes does not immunize you from criticism.
No. No. She wasn't ready.
Ooh, what's going on, everyone? It's Toss Kitty here today. Here's my debate recap for the 4th debate. I think it's the final debate of this year until they start doing primary elections. And I loved what I heard from Vivek today. The intros might think, for me, the most defining moment for Vivek when he directly called out Nikki Haley for corruption. There's a lot of good clips I got for you guys, so stay tuned. I'll ask you guys, if you already found value in this video, please like the video. Apparently I need to start asking for likes because I always ask at the end and you guys don't make it that far in, so I would like it if you guys like the video, so that way my message this video gets shared more in the algorithm. But hey, I digress. So I want to kind of give some reactions about like what was going on, and this tweet encapsulates exactly how I feel about what the mainstream media is going to do, how the mainstream media is going to spin this to try and pretend that Vivek didn't absolutely wreck Nikki Haley. We all witnessed the murder of her campaign on live TV, right? And I already noticed this when I did, like, when I was checking in different commentaries from News Nation. A lot of them, their view of it, News Nation's view of Vivek was that he did the worst, that he was obnoxious, right? People were tuning him out. That's what News Nation was saying. Right. And then he had his spin room interview with Megyn Kelly, and Megyn Kelly's co-host, I forgot the guy's name already, talked about how, you know, he just came at Nikki Haley with lies, nothing with substance. And I believe the intro, if you guys saw the intro video, I believe that was a substantive critique of Nikki Haley, that she thinks she's immune to criticism because she's a female. Right. She's using identity politics as a shield. The same way, like my same criticism that I give about certain black people in the black community who like to use their race as an alibi. I hate identity politics. I call it down the middle. I'm consistent. If I don't like black people using their race as an excuse for why they do bad in life, I'm not going to sit here and allow a woman to use her gender as an excuse for why she gets criticism. And I think it was a valid critique by Vivek. This next clip, Vivek's going to kind of destroyed this narrative that the mainstream media has been putting up, and Nikki Haley herself has been purporting that she has foreign policy experience, therefore she's more qualified in talking about things of Ukraine and Gaza and the Gaza-Israel war. And Vivek kind of highlights how he was right on this, to the point where now they're starting to come along to his position that he stated in the very first debate. Let's take a look.
Foreign policy experience is not the same as foreign policy wisdom. I was the first person to say we need a reasonable peace deal in Ukraine. Now a lot of the neocons are quietly coming along to that position, with the exceptions of Nikki Haley and Joe Biden, who still support this, what I believe is pointless war in Ukraine. And I think those with foreign policy experience, one thing that Joe Biden and Nikki Haley have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops to actually fight for. Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people have, I mean, she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces are, but she wants to send our sons and daughters and our troops and our military equipment to go fight it. So reject this myth that they've been selling you that somebody had a cup of coffee stint at the UN and then makes $8 million after, has real foreign policy experience. It takes an outsider to see this through. Look at the blank expression. She doesn't know the names of the provinces that she wants to actually fight for. And there's her puppet masters right there. The donors right there that are playing her like the puppet masters.
Hold on.
I love the fact that, you know, Kirsty came in, try to be big brother, trying to save try to save Nikki Haley, right? Try to play chivalrous, right? And I knew he was going to do that for the cameras because I knew, okay, because in my view, you don't do anything on a debate just to out of the goodness of your heart. You're doing it so you can use it later on, right? So he went on an interview. I forgot who was interviewing him. I think it was some lady named Rush. Her last name was Rush or something. I forgot her name. CNN reporter, I think. And he was like, yeah, I had to defend her, you know, and she's a very accomplished woman, right? He wanted a virtue signal off her, right? And I like the critiques that Vivek launched at Nikki Haley because she used all her foreign policy experience, and he kind of destroyed that because he's like, yo, I didn't have any foreign policy experience, and you guys are coming around to my position that I stated in the first debate. I'm glad that Vivek's taking credit for that. And the reason why I'm focused on Vivek is that he's my guy. Like that's the guy I picked. If I had my way, he would be the nominee. Vivek will be the nominee, right? But I know I live in reality. Trump's the nominee. So the reason why I like Vivek is because I already know mainstream media is going to try to somehow spin this to say that Vivek got wrecked by Nikki Haley, right? So I'm giving out my perspective, my narrative about how the debate actually went and why I think, or why many people think that Vivek absolutely destroyed Nikki Haley, and Nikki Haley should be canning her campaign right now. But we all know that's not going to happen. The donors don't want her to go, right? She's bragging about the fact that her donors, she got all the donations that Ron DeSantis lost. I don't think that's something you should brag about, in my opinion. But hey, you know, to each their own, right? So I don't know how people can come out of this saying that she won, right? But then, you know, everyone's playing into this girl boss narrative of hers. But let's look into this next clip.
I'll use this to just address a topic we didn't talk about tonight, but I think is one of the most important topics that needs to be discussed. That is this climate change agenda that is shackling this country like a set of handcuffs. I said it at the first debate, and I stand by it. The climate change agenda is a hoax because it has nothing to do with the climate. That's what we have to see. 98% reduction in the climate disaster-related deaths in the last century. 8 times as many people are going to die of cold temperatures this year than warm ones. Yet against that backdrop, there's an issue coming up in Iowa. It's core to Iowa farmers. I met Kim Junker, Kathy Stockdale, and other farmers who are about to have a carbon capture pipeline built across their land using eminent domain to do it. That's unconstitutional and it's wrong. And if you thought COVID was bad, what's coming with this climate agenda is far worse. We should not be bending the knee to this new religion. That is what it is. It is a substitute for a modern religion. We are flogging ourselves and losing our modern way of life, bowing to this new god of climate, and that will end on my watch.
Thank
it's
you,
the most critical
Ambassador
issue
Haley.
that's coming up.
Yeah, I do agree that climate change is like the prescriptions for climate change is a lot worse than the actual problem, right? They want to talk about global warming when more people statistically die of cold weather than warm weather, right? They want to complain about, like, to me, the only clean energy is no energy. They don't want you to have energy. All you have to do is look at California. They have rolling blackouts, right? Solar energy is wholly inefficient to fuel an entire country. They don't like nuclear energy, even though it's the cleanest available option that actually that realistically can replace fossil fuels at a significant rate. But they want to focus on solar panels. When if you look at solar panels, they take up so much space. Like there's not enough room. There's not enough space on the United States landscape to actually produce enough energy to power the entire country. But these are the people that want that's the energy source that they want us to go. And it seems like it's just merely a way of, hey, you do it my way or the highway. It's merely a way of exercising power. It's a way of justifying. To me, it's just a pretext to just spend money, give handouts, subsidize government, bring in more government involvement into our lives, make us not use gas stoves anymore. To me, it's a Trojan horse issue. But hey, I digress. So time to get into the other candidates. We're going to start off with Chris Christie, and I think he did the worst out of the debates in my view. Second was Nikki Haley, and then it's neck and neck with Ron and Vivek. As I know, I always give a biased discount against Vivek. So Ron, if you're not like a Vivek fan, in your eyes, I believe Ron would have won that debate because he did a lot better in this debate. But we're talking about Chris Christie. This man got destroyed. What, first minute into the into the debate? Oh my God! Hey, I'm not going to talk anymore. Let's get into the clip.
He said that you got into this race just to stop President Trump. His approval rating with Republicans is currently at 81%. Yours is at 25. Your best state is New Hampshire, and even there, 2/3 of GOP voters say they would be angry and disappointed if you won. Respectfully, Governor, you have not stopped Mr. Trump, and voters may wonder how you could possibly become the nominee of a party that does not appear to like you very much.
Yeah, well, look, Megan, it's often very difficult to be the only person on the stage who's telling the truth, and the only person who is taking on what needs to be taken on. I look at my watch now. We're 17 minutes into this debate, and except for your little speech in the beginning, we've had these three acting as if the race is between the four of us. The fifth guy, who doesn't have the guts to show up and stand here, he's the one who, as you just put it, is way ahead in the polls.
Yeah, so all Chris Christie wanted to do was talk about Trump, and that strategy is not even working, right? Because in my view, you appreciate the people that's there, right? That's how I always think. I don't like to dwindle on people that are not present. If Trump don't show up, I ain't talking about Trump. I think that's a valid strategy because at the end of the day, he's not there. You could be better off marketing yourself better to the American people than to try to bring down a guy that's not even in the room to defend himself. That's how I take it. So I think this is why his approval ratings haven't been going up, why he hasn't been able to coast Trump into the debates, because at the end of the day, you're wasting valuable time trying to attack the man. And it seemed like that's all he wanted to focus on, right? And I think that's the only highlights I'll actually give Chris Christie, because a lot of the times Chris Christie was getting pushback. And also I want to address Nikki Haley, because in my view, I don't think Nikki Haley said anything that was appealing to me. So, you might call this bias, but at the end of the day, look, like I gave her flowers. She did a lot better than Chris Christie, because I think Chris Christie did the worst in this debate, right? So I'm just going to take a signet from a tweet from Vivek Ramaswamy, and they were talking about healthcare, and I wanted to kind of highlight some of these things that I felt was important, but I didn't want to make a video on. I see it firsthand every day that because my wife is a surgeon, she wants to get her patients healthy with a full range of options: diet, exercise, preventative medicine. And that's a big problem in our health system, is that there's incentives for people to prescribe pills. All our system wants to do is pay for more pills. Americans keep getting sicker. Only health insurance profit margins get healthier. The solution: and anti-Trump's exemptions for health insurance companies. Let the competitive marketplace flourish. And this is very, free market capitalism. This is very privatized of healthcare, right? And I think that's a valid argument. And that's the point I wanted to focus on, is that a lot of the things that will be helpful for Americans, they spend less time on. And I feel like they spend more time talking about like cultural stuff, and I think that's important. But also like foreign policy, like the Israel stuff, the Ukraine stuff. I feel like they spend a little bit too much time on those topics, and they should have been spending more time on topics like healthcare in America. That's just my personal view. And yeah, next clip, we're going to go into Ron DeSantis. And I think Ron DeSantis did great this debate. I think he gained a lot of confidence from his debate with Gavin Newsom. I think Gavin Newsom actually helped Ron more than he hurt Ron. And here's an example of this clip of Ron DeSantis and him kind of going at Chris Christie and Nikki Haley on their stance with the transgender issue. Let's take a look.
No, that slippery slope, what rights are going to be taken away next, and what's going to be focused on.
As a parent, you do not have the right to abuse your kids. This is cutting off their genitals. This is mutilating these minors. These are irreversible procedures, and this is something that other countries in Europe, like Sweden, once they started doing it, they saw it did incalculable damage. They've shut it down. I signed legislation in Florida banning the mutilation of minors because it is wrong. We cannot allow this to happen in this country. And I know Chris disagrees with me, and I think he has an honest position. Nikki disagrees with me. She opposes the bill that we did to ban that. She said the law shouldn't get involved with it. You said the law shouldn't get involved with it. She also, though, I think, and this flows from what she did as governor of South Carolina, they had a bill to try to say that men shouldn't go into girls' bathrooms. And she killed that bill, and she bragged that she killed that bill. Even to this day, she bragged that. I don't think men should be going into little girls' bathrooms. I think it's wrong, and I think we have every right to protect them from that.
Yeah, Ron, whoa, he killed it, right? And he got both of them. Like I didn't agree. I don't know why. I didn't agree with none of like Nikki or Chris Christie at all. And I think Ron and Vivek, someday you saw in some clips you're gonna see out there. I'm not gonna cover it here. They were tag teaming Nikki sometimes, right? And she's gaining on the polls, obviously, and she's reveling in the attention. She's bragging about how she stole Ron's donors. But to me, that's not something to brag about as like for millennial voters. And I really think that Ron will still finish second, given the performance, given how the polls have been moving. I'm surprised that Vivek hasn't been gaining on the polls, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the media kind of paint him as obnoxious, a know-it-all, right? And they ask some questions about that too. I think hearing that in the Megyn Kelly spin room. But for some reason, it seems like Gen X and baby boomers don't like Vivek, and I don't understand why. But I kind of want to, like, before I go into the final clip of the video, I kind of want to highlight some of the highlights that Ron had brought up. How he challenged Nikki on about her no limits on legal immigration and that corporate CEOs should set the policy. She said he was lying, right? And this is where I got the clip from, that you're not allowed to abuse your kids. And then Ron DeSantis also has a stance that I really agree with, is that truck drivers shouldn't be paying student loans for someone who have a degree in gender studies. That's wrong. He talks about when he's president. Like, these are some of the things that I loved from DeSantis, right? And I honestly think that from a execution process oriented approach, Ron DeSantis is like a great candidate, right? But I agree on Vivek about the presidency. I think it's more of a position of visionary leadership and less about execution. I think it's possible to be an executor, right? Ron highlighted how he looks up to Calvin Coolidge as a president, and I think that's a good comparison. I think Ron is our modern version of a Calvin Coolidge. Hopefully I didn't say that name wrong. I feel like I said his name wrong, but you guys will correct me in the comment section. So in this last clip, I kind of want to give Ron his props for bringing up this solution that a lot of Republicans complain about: ballot harvesting. They complain about election procedures being changed in states. And I think that the idea that, hey, we're not going to fight with one hand behind our back is a good message to push. And I think this would, to me, I give Ron the edge on the debates. Here, let's take a look at this final clip for the video.
You guys are doing a great job. What you should do for election integrity is do what we did in Florida. 20 years ago, Florida and elections was a joke. Everybody would laugh at it. I came in, I removed a couple supervisors from South Florida. We require voter ID universal, no Zuckerbucks, no mass mail balloting, and no ballot harvesting. We even have an agency that prosecutes people for violating election laws. The result of that, in both 2020 and 2022, we counted millions and millions of votes on election night, produced the results, it was transparent, and everybody was happy. That is not happening throughout this country. But let me tell you this as the nominee. I think it's important. Not every state's where we need it to be. There is ballot harvesting in places like Nevada, all these places. I am not going to fight with one hand tied behind my back. I'm going to have organizations in all the swing states. If they're harvesting, we're harvesting. If they're Zuckerbucks, we're Zuckerbucks. We are going to exploit whatever the rules are. I favor changing the rules to be like Florida and some of the other states that have done a good job. But until then, we have to do that. And then just...
Yeah, Ron hits a lot of good points there. All right. Like, acknowledging what happened with Trump, I think that will play well with the base. I think he really showed out. Like, I think Ron really put his best foot forward in these last few debates. A lot of people say, where was this earlier? Hey, like, maybe it took him a while to warm up, and like, from the looks of it, is Trump still going to be the guy? But I like the fact that I think that's important to bring out, that, hey, like, stop complaining about the issues, deal with what we have right in front of you, ballot harvest. Hey, let's go to swing states. Let's rally. Let's get ballot harvesting. Let's play by the rules. Let's fight fire with fire. We can't just sit here and be like, we need to change elections procedures. Like, we need to play the game too, because if we continue allowing if we continue allowing our opponents to do whatever they want, change stuff in legal precedent, rigging the stuff in their favor, don't get mad when you lose. And I like that approach. I like that, the fact that Ron brung that out, and he articulated how, because I was born and raised in Florida. I'm a native Floridian, and I saw what he was talking about. I saw how it took days. I remember with the Andrew Gillum, when Ron was running against Andrew Gillum, it took a couple of days to find out who actually won that election because of the election supervisor in Broward County. Many people may not remember that, but I did. I sure as hell did. And the transition from when he got in and to where Florida is now is while, but before the end of the night, you knew who won the state, right? That contrast is very important to articulate and illustrate to the audience. And I think that was a very good showing from Ron DeSantis. I think this is the best case that Ron has given for why he should be president of the United States, right? So honestly, I enjoyed these debates. I think it was very entertaining. I like the fact that Vivek really showed out, right? It felt like Vivek versus the mainstream media at this point. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it wasn't too long. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Who you thought won? Give me some of your favorite clips, your favorite moments. I would like to hear them in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And I thank you for watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.